Good morning to everyone. I'm speaking to you right now from Texas, from my apartment, someplace I don't see very often. So it's evening for me, and good morning to all of you. I wish I could join you for a morning cup of coffee. Well, today we're going to talk about AO. And of course, it's officially, in order to protect the trademark, etc., that's a legal deal, we have to call it Ambrotose AO. But I've said that now, so we can just call it AO, because when we call it Ambrotose AO, it often confuses people. And we've had so many people over the years who are using Ambrotose, either in the form of complex or advanced. Then after a month or so, they're on the website and they say, oh, Ambrotose AO is less expensive. I'll buy that one and quit taking my Ambrotose. Well, that's why I hate the fact that it's called Ambrotose AO. Because obviously, although there's a lot of Ambrotose in each capsule of Ambrotose AO, there is not nearly enough to replace a serving of Ambrotose. So a serving of Ambrotose is 4 grams daily. We recommend 2 grams twice daily. And that's the same for complex or advanced. And AO contains approximately, legal gets upset if I say the exact number, so I'll say approximately 300 milligrams of Ambrotose complex per capsule. So you can see that that's not enough Ambrotose to replace our minimum daily recommendation of Ambrotose. And a question that I get, one of the FAQs that I get all the time on Ambrotose AO is this complex or is this advanced? And the answer is it's neither. What we did, because, I mean, let's face it, folks, Mannatech is the glyconutrient company. Who knows more about glyconutrients than Ambrotose? I mean, than Mannatech. So we have made a specific blend of glyconutrients in Ambrotose AO, which is not found in any other Mannatech product. So it's neither complex nor advanced. We blended the glyconutrients specifically to enhance the function of the antioxidants in the product. So that should answer a whole bunch of questions for folks right off the top of the bat. So good Ambrotose in there, absolutely. In fact, it includes, I believe that your label in Australasia, because the Australian TGA seems to have a fondness for Latin botanical names. So you look at the Australasian label and you're often wondering what the heck all that stuff is, unless, of course, you speak Latin or you're a botanical scientist. So one thing that you'll see on there that you'll recognize, of course, is the word aloe. And it will say aloe inner leaf gel powder. Now, when you see aloe inner leaf gel powder, what that means, because in certain countries we have to label it that way for various reasons, what that means essentially, folks, is Mannapol, okay? So whenever you see Mannapol in a product, you want that product, because Mannapol is clearly, absolutely, unequivocally Mannatech's most important ingredient in our entire inventory. So that particular ingredient is one reason that you want to take any product that contains that particular ingredient. So that's what that means. Now, I'm going to go through the list of some of the ingredients, and I'm not going to translate all the Latin names because everybody will get confused anyway, and you can see them on the label if you choose to look at them. But I want you to have valuable information that you can actually understand today and give to others. I mean, that's the whole point. We need to share our product with others. So with this in mind, one of the really important ingredients, which, by the way, was so controversial when we first put this ingredient in AO, you know it as the Australian bush plum. Well, the Latin name is Terminalia ferdinandiana. And of course, that's such a ridiculously long name. Who can remember it? All right. That's the Australian bush plum. Now, when we first started working with the Aboriginals and harvesting Australian bush plum, the Australian government told us that, well, we don't recognize that as a nutritional source. And of course, we had analyzed the plum and we found that the vitamin C content was just off the charts. I mean, the vitamin C content is so high per plum, it's just ridiculous. And of course, our thought at the Mannatech scientists, we thought, why don't you recognize this as a source of nutrition? And of course, it had been used to make jellies and jams and that sort of thing for a very long time in Australia. But so at first, our first run of AO down there in Australia and New Zealand, we couldn't put it in there because they told us it wasn't a nutritional source. Well, fortunately, it's in there now. Another question I get frequently when I'm training in different countries is our associates, because of the swiftness and ease of use of the internet, there's a lot of associates who will compare the products in their countries to the U.S. product. And the general assumption, of course, is that the U.S. product certainly must be better. So let's sort of start to run down the list here, because we got some of those typical FAQs out of the way. There are more, of course. The label then that you have written in primarily in Latin doesn't look the same as the American label, but the ingredients are the same. So you have the same product. It just is printed differently, so that you know. On the U.S. label, it says Mannatech AO blend. I'm not sure if it says that on your label or not. But Colleen's going to verify that. I can see she's looking at it right now. So, and the Mannatech AO blend is the key to this formula. That is our proprietary antioxidant blend that we did so much testing. Now, before I go through the individual ingredients and some of their benefits and some of the science behind it, okay, so she confirms you have Mannatech AO blend listed on your label. Good. So Mannatech AO antioxidant blend. What we did initially is we thought we should have an antioxidant product specific at Mannatech more than just fruit and vegetable powder, because as you know, we had a product for a very long time called Phytalo. It's still available in a few countries, but eventually it won't be available anywhere, I don't think, because it's a technology that was immediately superseded by this product that we're talking about this morning. AO, according to serum analysis in human beings, and folks, that's as good as it gets. Serum means blood, so blood analysis in human beings. According to that analysis, AO is literally thousands of times better as an antioxidant than our original Phytalo powder. The Phytalo powder was good stuff in its day back in 1995. It was really good stuff. And it's still good stuff, but it cannot compare to the antioxidant power, the sheer power of our product AO. So this blend does contain, by the way, some Phytalo in it. That's part of the blend. But what we did initially is we thought we need to get an antioxidant that is not only better than fruit and vegetable powder, but that is so much better that it could be the #1 antioxidant product on planet Earth. That was our goal. So what we did is, well, good science. You know, we have a state-of-the-art analytical chemistry laboratory. We are literally able to analyze down to one single molecule in any plant material you bring us. So that is as good as science gets today. And so we began to look at all of the things that are listed as antioxidants, both in science literature and in folk literature, because there are some things where science had not yet tested these things to confirm if they were indeed antioxidants, but they were listed in traditional folk literature and in naturopathic medicine and so on. So we tested those as well. And we used 2 different types of laboratory testing. Why did we use 2 types? Because a good scientist always re-verifies the data. A good scientist never accepts the initial data without checking it again. And you do that to make sure that what you've done is in fact what you were looking to do. So we used two different types of laboratory testing just in case. And we began to test for nearly 4 years, very close to 4 years, every day, testing again and again and again, one ingredient after another. Now, first it began by just trying to identify which of these plant materials really and truly were antioxidants. The second step of the testing was to find out how powerful each of these antioxidants was. The third step of the testing was to begin to combine the antioxidants with each other in different ways to see if one would complement another or if one might actually suppress the function of another. Now, most people don't think about that, especially in the nutritional world. People who are customers of nutritional products generally have the mindset that if 2 is good, 10 is better. But that's not always true in science, and especially with antioxidants. Mannatech's study was so incredibly detailed and so in-depth that we had actually studied antioxidants in ways that virtually no one else had studied yet. And of course, with a state-of-the-art analytical chemistry lab, we could certainly accomplish this. The only problem that we had is we didn't have enough staff to do enough tests to get this thing done in less than 20 years at the rate we were testing it. So we invited doctoral candidates from the University of Texas to work in our lab, and we made a sort of a deal with them. And that is, they could do their doctoral research, because to get a doctorate degree in most disciplines of science, you have to do specific doctoral research, and then you have to publish something that in the United States they call a dissertation. Not every country calls it that, so that's why I say it that way. And so we knew that they needed a place to work and they needed something to do a dissertation on, and we needed more hands in the laboratory to do these tests. So then, how many companies do you know of that can say that they had doctoral candidates in chemistry and biochemistry working in their lab, working on their doctoral degrees in their lab? Well, there's only one country, I should say company, that can say that, and that happens to be Mannatech. So we have a pretty remarkable laboratory. In Texas, I wouldn't expect anyone to know there, but Texas is one of the wealthiest states in the United States. In fact, if it was a country, and I have to tell you that most Texans think it is a country, by the way, but if it was a country, it would be the 15th largest economy on planet Earth, just to give you an idea of how wealthy the state of Texas is, how much money there is there. So and they don't charge income tax at all. There's no income tax in Texas. So the government has tons of money. That means the schools have tons of money, and the universities have beautiful laboratories, but they can't hold a candle to us. So I just want you to have that sort of comparison in your mind, okay? Well, back to the blend. So then we get to our third stage of testing, and now what we're doing is we are trying to see if you combine, let's say, quercetin with vitamin C. Does it give you a better antioxidant effect or a lesser antioxidant effect, or does it not change the antioxidant effect at all? Now, those tests went on, hundreds of tests back and forth. What inspired us to do that, you might ask? Well, we started looking at plants, and we know that healthy plants become victims of oxidative stress unless they have proper antioxidants within the plant. That's well known to any botanical scientist. And we thought, I wonder if you were to change the balance of one antioxidant, the ratios, I wonder if that plant would become more healthy or less healthy. And what we found was that if you alter the natural balance of antioxidant in a healthy plant, the plant begins to oxidize. It becomes unhealthy. It begins to die. Well, no one had ever found that out before, so that was another big piece of our research. And then we thought, boy, we better check all of these antioxidants in combination with one another to make sure that they really do, in fact, complement each other. Well, we did this, as I say, for nearly 4 years. That's a lot of testing. And then our final test was to put together what we thought was the best combination of naturally occurring antioxidants in the best ratio. In other words, how much, and I'll give the example again, quercetin to vitamin C. What percentage of quercetin to what percentage of vitamin C would give you the best reaction? Now, I'm going through all of this, my friends, because I want you to understand that AO, in my opinion, is the most extraordinary antioxidant that has ever been created. I don't know of any product in the antioxidant field available anywhere from any company that has as much hardcore scientific research into it as AO. This is a phenomenal product. In fact, there have been companies who made their mark in the industry selling what they claim to be antioxidants and selling nothing else. We could easily, if this was all we sold and this was all we focused on, we could probably have an easier time of it than we're trying to get people to sell 30 different products because you're more focused on one. The fact is, we've got so many products that are so important to your health that, well, we're just not going to be a one-product company. That's just not going to happen. But I am so strongly recommending to everyone that they take their AO every day. It's so important. Now, you may not know that there are 68 different areas of health that may be adversely affected by oxidative stress. Now, a lot of people will say, well, what does oxidative stress actually mean? What is it? A simple way to explain oxidative stress would be with a 4-letter word, which I don't use very often, but I will today. That word is rust, R-U-S-T. So rust is oxidative stress on metal. Now, of course, you're not made of metal, but if you look at human cells and how they are literally attacked by oxidative free radicals, it's very much like rust. Literally, the oxidative free radicals not only attack and damage the cells, they can literally decay the cells. Oxidative free radicals accelerate aging, and not just the way you look on the outside, but the way you are on the inside as well. So oxidative protection, an antioxidant, is crucially important to everyone's health on planet Earth. That the air, as tested by scientists from the Environmental Protection Agency in the United States, was on average 10 times more toxic inside of people's homes than it was outdoors. Well, we spend most of our time indoors. That's the modern world. And so whether you're spending that time in your home or in your office or wherever it is indoors, the air that you're breathing is not as clean as you want it to be. It just isn't. So with this in mind, you need to have antioxidant to help combat those harmful free radicals. This is why this formula is so important. So you have the Ambrotose Phyto formula. Okay, so it's on your label. Now the Ambrotose Phyto formula, that is a blend of fruits and vegetables and Mannatech and our special Ambrotose formula that is specific to this product. Now that blend consists of several different plant gums, and those plant gums, they may or may not be listed on your label. They'll be listed with their botanical names, of course, like gum tragacanth and gum gatti and xanthan gum and gum arabic and those kinds of things. Now, those provide us with glyconutrients. And we do not make antioxidant claims on our glyconutrients, although you'll find some scientists who do. What you'll also find in here is that there is broccoli, both the flower and the stalk, because both have nutrient specific. And when I say the flower, the bushy green part that we eat, okay, that would be called the flower. Brussels sprouts, and we use the aerial part of that because it has a higher concentration of sulfur-bearing compounds that are known to work effectively as antioxidants, as do, by the way, as we get from broccoli. The same thing with cabbage and with cauliflower. So you've got these things from the group of foods which are called cruciferous vegetables. In addition to that, we're using carrot to provide us with beta-carotene. We like to use beta-carotene instead of vitamin A. In some countries, and we are an international company, and any of you, of course, can have associates in any country. So I'll just explain this for however the labels will appear in various different countries. In some countries, we have to list our beta-carotene as vitamin A, even though beta-carotene is not vitamin A. Beta-carotene is actually pro-vitamin A. And what that means is that when you put it into your digestive tract, enzymes interact with it, and it converts the beta-carotene into vitamin A as you need it. We prefer that because this way your body decides how much vitamin A it's going to get versus us just giving you vitamin A, which vitamin A can become toxic if you have too much of it. And we want to avoid that at all costs. So we're probably your label would be listing carrot powder or perhaps the Latin name for it. And that's for our beta carotene. And we've also used kale in this. Again, this provides us with various cruciferous nutrients, which are, and these are nutrients which contain not only truly excellent antioxidants, natural plant-based antioxidants, but also contain a different category of nutrient that you might not be aware of. And these are categories that it looks when you read and there are a number of different variations of these, and I won't go through the entire list on all of them. But as you look through them, it may look to you like you're reading about glyconutrients. Well, in fact, what you're reading about is not glyconutrients. You're reading about actual sulfur compounds, but their names appear as though they are glyconutrients. The bottom line here is that these are crucially important for antioxidant effect. Crucially important. So when you get all these cruciferous together, of course, that is the sort of the main look of the original product, Phytolo, but we've added a lot more to it, and this is quite a bit more potent. So again, I have a printout here of what our initial formula is there in Australia, but I don't have the label in front of me, so I don't know for sure. So there are things called glucosinolates, and so that looks like it's some kind of glyconutrient, but it's not. These are also sulfur-bearing compounds, which are known to be very effective, particularly for antioxidant effect in the gastrointestinal tract. So really, really important stuff. There's also garlic in this product. Not enough garlic to give you bad breath, okay? But and probably not enough garlic to ward off vampires if you live in Romania. But but it's good to have a little levity first thing in the morning, or for me, last thing in the evening. So, but what we've taken is we've isolated a particular ingredient from garlic. So it's not whole garlic. We've taken particular compounds, which again these are sulfur compounds, which are called thiosulfonates. Now, these thiosulfonates, again, are known to be very effective as antioxidants, extremely good for your antioxidant health, also helps to support your general health or your general immune function. Now, there's some grape skin extract in here. Grape skin has antioxidants in it, whereas the meat or I say the meat of the grape or the actual fruit of the grape, it's great. It tastes great. We love it. We enjoy it. But the antioxidant is in the skin of the grape. So that's where we go for what are called polyphenols. One of those polyphenols is known as resveratrol. Now, resveratrol has been talked about a lot for the last few years. First of all, because it truly is an excellent antioxidant. By itself, it's not enough of an antioxidant to deal with today's problems, unfortunately. This is why AO is such an amazing complex of antioxidants which are synergistically tested and synergistically blended to give you the best possible effect for your health. Now, some of you, of course, have heard things like if you drink red wine, it's good for you because it contains resveratrol. Okay, and I do enjoy my red each night myself. Now, the resveratrol is very good for you, but I have to caution all of you that the testing is with 1 to 2 glasses, not 1 to 2 bottles today. So just 1 to 2 glasses. Now, technically, and I do periodically get asked this, so I'll just give you this answer in case somebody's asking it. The first time when I launched this product in Australia, in fact, someone in the audience, when I said 1 glass, a fellow yelled out, "How big's the glass, mate?" And I thought, only in Australia would I get that. And of course, the glass is going to be 150 ml. That's the way it was tested. Now, according to anatomical studies, the average male has a larger liver than the average female. In fact, there is on average, and of course there are variations naturally, but on average about a 15% difference in total size between males and females, typically males being larger. Males tend to be able to tolerate more alcohol than females without damage. And so males generally up to 3 glasses a day maximum, and women up to 2 a day maximum. Okay. Again, red wine, not white. If you enjoy white, well, do it for whatever reason you do it. But if you want the antioxidant benefit, you do the red. And of course, since our hostess is from Ireland, it reminded me of some of my Irish friends because I am part Irish, as some of you know. And some of my Irish friends who refer to Guinness Stout as stew. Well, or food. Listen, Guinness is not an antioxidant, okay? So use it for whatever you use it for, but don't use it as an antioxidant because that's not what it is. I'm sorry to tell you. So there are other antioxidants that we take from the grape skin, not just the resveratrol, by the way. So we are taking things called anthocyanins, very, very important antioxidants. And there are also tannins that are taken from this. In addition, there are glycosides. Again, that looks like it's a glyconutrient, but there are glycosides which function as an antioxidant in the grape skin, and something called rutin. Now, rutin is not just an antioxidant. Rutin is also just fabulous for circulation. So we don't make a circulation claim on this product, but I just want you to know that that's one of its functions. Now, you will also not see listed on your label in English, there's some green tea extract in there. And your label would certainly say Camellia sinensis, which is the Latin for green tea. Now, we're not using green tea We're just extracting certain nutrients from the green tea. So certain polyphenols and certain things which are called catechins and epicatechins. And we are taking those from the green tea because those are also known to be antioxidants. So you might be getting a picture by now, here in our first 30 minutes on this call, that this is a really complex formula. This is a formula that is really, really well thought out. And of course, the testing has been just phenomenal. Our detail of testing on this product has truly been amazing. Now, there's also onion in the product. Now, not whole raw onion, but from the onion, we again have extracted a couple of different, well, actually 3 different antioxidant compounds, including something called quercetin, which I mentioned earlier. And we do also, by the way, get quercetin from grapeseed, and there are a few other sources of quercetin, but the quercetin is there because that by itself is a pretty amazing antioxidant. There are also trace levels in our onion powder of vitamin C and vitamin B6 and manganese and thiamine and folate, and a little bit of potassium. So those are all very good things to add to it. There's papaya and pineapple in this. Now, the reason that we've put the papaya in there is because it's a great source of both vitamin A and vitamin C. And it also has enzyme value, which we found important in the assimilation of this total formula. And again, there's pineapple. Well, pineapple juice powder actually is what's in. So not whole pineapple, but rather juice, and then the juice has been dehydrated and made into a powder. We do this to provide an enzyme called bromelain, because that helps with the digestion and absorption of all of the other nutrients in the product. Because let's face it, if we give you the best nutrients in the world, but you can't absorb them well, then what's the point? So, and a lot of people don't think about that. Say, wow, you got some digestive aid in here for the formula. We sure do. Then, of course, we have a pure quercetin dehydrate. So we haven't just extracted it from grapeseed and from onions, but we've also put a pure quercetin dehydrate powder into this to even further strengthen the flavonoid antioxidant activity in this. Now, you can find quercetin, as I mentioned, in you can find it in grapefruit. You can find a little bit in broccoli. Even apples, by the way, can be another source of quercetin. And one of the reasons why an apple a day is a good thing to do. So I like my apples. I don't know if you do, but I sure do. So that's another thing that's in here. In addition to that, of course, we've used tomato, or tomato, as you say there. And that is to give you a source of lycopene. Lycopene is tremendously important as an antioxidant. By the way, it's also tremendously important for the health of your eyes. But lycopene is the stuff in any fruit or vegetable. If any fruit or vegetable is red or pink, it's got lycopene in it. Lycopene is what makes the red red. And so we extract lycopene from the tomato fruit. Tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. A lot of people have that confused because they typically put on their salads and so on. Okay, but we do this, and we're taking this from what are called, in the United States, they're called cherry tomatoes. I'm not sure if they're called that. Are they called that? Okay. So the little ones, that's what we do. So there you have a source of lycopene, which again is a very important antioxidant and very important for your the health of your eyes. Now, let me spend a moment on the idea of harvesting fruit and vegetables properly. Lycopene only appears in a fruit or a vegetable when that fruit or vegetable has ripened on the vine, when it has become fully ripened. What produce growers do all the time now, unfortunately, and I understand their economic necessity, it makes sense. They want to be able to harvest fruits and vegetables in one area of a country and ship it to another area of a country before it spoils, so it has time to sit on the shelf at the grocery store. And the problem with that is that if you wait to harvest it until it's fully ripened, it now only literally has a few days before it begins to break down and not be edible anymore. Well, that's not a problem for us in nutrition because we're not concerned about how it looks. We're only concerned about the potency of the nutrient. So we are using vine-ripened cherry tomatoes to get real lycopene. Now, you may go to the grocery store and you may buy tomatoes which have no lycopene in them at all, even though they're red. How does that happen? Well, commercially today, again, because of the economic factors, what they do is they pick the tomatoes green, then they ship them to wherever the middleman is before it's going to be shipped off to grocery stores. And they put the tomatoes literally into a gas chamber, and they gas it with something called ethylene gas. Now, when you gas a green tomato with ethylene gas, it will magically turn red. It does not magically produce lycopene. Only nature can do that. So then you have a red tomato, and it doesn't taste like an organic tomato, vine-ripened tomato tastes like. But, it's red, and you think, well, it's tomato, right? Well, you're probably not getting any lycopene at all. So it's important for you to have a supplement that delivers lycopene for you. In the formula, in the blend, there's also turnip root. Now, the reason we've done this is because turnip root can provide you with a lot of vitamin C, which of course is a crucially important antioxidant. It also provides you with a little bit of vitamin B6 and folate and potassium, tiny amount of copper, and a little bit of manganese, all good. But you remember earlier I mentioned something called glucosinolates. Now, a glucosinolate is a sulfur-bearing compound which is known to break down in the human gastrointestinal tract and function as an antioxidant. And turnip root, is rich in this stuff. And that's one of the reasons that we've used that. Now, here's something that I need to cover because this has come up for years. And years ago, we had a very nice fellow. He's a friend of mine. I like him very much. And he put out a handout which unfortunately wasn't as complete as it should have been. And it allowed people who didn't have a real strong background in nutritional biochemistry to make assumptions about things that, well, they probably shouldn't have made those assumptions. And this comes under the heading of vitamin C or ascorbic acid. And something I get all the time, question I get just all the time from folks who really care about what they're putting into their bodies, obviously. And they look at the label and they say, how come you put synthetic vitamin C in this product? Well, folks, we didn't. We did not. But that handout that many people around the world, the English-speaking world, have been using, it said on there that synthetic vitamin C is ascorbic acid. Well, it should have said all vitamin C is ascorbic acid. Synthetic is called ascorbic acid. Natural is called ascorbic acid. Oops, really? Yep, really. So whether it comes from the Australian bush plum or acerola cherry or an orange or a laboratory, it's still called ascorbic acid. Your vitamin C in AO is natural vitamin C. It is water soluble and has all the functions of natural vitamin C that you would expect to have. So we've gotten that one out of the way, I hope. And of course, this is the same vitamin C, which, by the way, is used when I made the formula for us called Catalyst. I used exactly the same vitamin C in that product. And of course, that label also calls it ascorbic acid. And people say, why is this synthetic? It's not synthetic. Okay. So we can just put that one to bed. Now, you'll also see in this product, again, I'm not sure how your label will appear, but you have in this product real vitamin E. Now, when I say real, I'm talking about all of the tocopherols. Now, vitamin E, when it's listed as, quote, natural vitamin E, and sold around the world in any health food store you go to anywhere, at least that I've been to anywhere in the world, it lists natural vitamin E as D-alpha tocopherol. Well, it is true that D-alpha tocopherol is indeed natural vitamin E. It is, but it's only part of the vitamin. There is also D-beta and D-delta and D-gamma. The point is, there are a list of tocopherols. And if you're going to have a complete vitamin E that is natural, you have to have all of the tocopherols as we have listed and as we have in this product as well. And there are some formulation ingredients, obviously, which have to be in the product. And a lot of people, I guess some folks go to websites and they go to websites that, well, in my opinion, are doing a disservice because they're not doing full disclosure and they mislead people. They make people think that you can make capsules without encapsulation agents. And, well, you can't. There's no technology available for that yet. And there may be someday, but there isn't one yet. So you're going to find citric acid is in this product as what's called a formulation agent. This helps to stabilize the blend long term because we want it to be able to sit on the shelf for a while, right? And of course, the capsules themselves are made of a vegetable cellulose, for those of you who are concerned about that. And they're also, in addition, as a formulation or encapsulation agent, is another, it's really a polysaccharide gum, but we also use it as a formulation agent, and it's called xanthan gum. So that's all those goodies are in there. Okay, so we've talked about the ingredients, and now let's get back to some of the science on this. This product, as I mentioned, was tested nearly 4 years before we arrived at the best blend of all of those things that I've just talked about, that very long list of things I've just talked about. And that was big work. And to the best of my knowledge, not even the best university scientists had done any research like that up to that point or since that point, for that matter. I think we were unique. But the next test was to test this in human beings because, after all, that's what it was meant for. And we had to know. I mean, we could easily rest on our laurels, as the other companies do, and just say, well, you know, our laboratory test shows us the best antioxidant on planet Earth, blah, blah, blah. Boy, could I give you some thoughts on that. But we had to test it in human beings. So we do our first human trial. So we did a test called serum ORAC. Again, serum means blood. And ORAC is an abbreviation. It stands for oxygen radical absorption capacity, ORAC. Now, you'll see a lot of companies misuse the word ORAC to mislead you, and they've done something called ORAC FL. That means they've used a fluorescent chemical to find out if their product will have a fluorescent glow. And then they measure the intensity of that glow, and they translate that somehow magically into a digital readout. And then they'll magically come up with this, well, our product is the best because it has 50,000 ORAC protection units or 100,000 ORAC protection units. And of course, the consumer loves it. Even doctors don't know the difference. They ask me all the time, how many ORAC protection units does AO have? And I'll respond by saying none. And of course, they freak out. Like, how can it be the best? If it doesn't have, well, because ORAC protection units are nonsense. It's a marketing tool. It's not science. We're not going to use a fluorescent chemical reagent to find out if our product fluoresces. That's real pretty, but it's not science. Instead, we use the real, complicated, super expensive, and difficult test to do, which is called serum ORAC in living, breathing human beings. Wow, what a concept. Now we do our first test and we find out, to our huge surprise, we knew it would be good, but we had no idea how good it would be. I mean, we were just shocked because serum ORAC in human beings, if you feed a human being 5 servings of fresh, not canned or frozen, but fresh, ripe fruits and vegetables, their ORAC levels rise in their blood by about 13% average. Our product, AO, one 500 milligram capsule, raised ORAC protection in human blood by 37.4% average. Think about that. That's enormous. That's almost 3 times what you would get from eating 5 full servings of fresh fruits and vegetables from a tiny little 500 milligram capsule. That's astounding science. We were totally amazed. In fact, we were so amazed that we thought we better do the test again, because there's no way a 500 milligram capsule could be that powerful. How could it be? Well, we did a second test. Guess what we found out? The first test was right. And we've done a third test. And guess what? The first 2 tests were right. And even when we did our third human clinical trial, that's right, we've done 3 human serum ORAC tests with this product. I challenge any company on this planet to show me a product as well researched, as well tested, and as well proven to be effective in human beings as Mannatech's AO. I challenge all of our competitors because I know we'll win. That's how confident I am. So when we did the third one, we had a whole bunch of cigarette smokers. And why did we do that? Well, the first 2 tests, most people that we recruited didn't smoke. And then we thought, hey, the people who need the most antioxidant protection are smokers, because they do on average 300% more damage to their bodies than non-smokers. So we tested a bunch of smokers. Guess what we found out? Our product works phenomenally well, even with folks who smoke. But what we couldn't do is get an exact recommendation for you. Here's what I mean. With non-smokers, it was really consistent. What we found was that 2 capsules per day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, not 2 at once. That's important. Remember, I talked about synergy earlier. 1 capsule twice daily gave us the best antioxidant protection in non-smokers. But then with smokers, our problem was all smokers smoke differently. So some of them, it's a couple of cigarettes, or it's 10, or it's a pack, or it's a half a pack, or it's 2 packs. They're all different. So we found that smokers needed 3 or 4 capsules a day, and we couldn't get a specific recommendation because the smokers were so different in what they did. So I typically say to every group that I'm training, if you're a smoker, you have 2 options. The most intelligent option, obviously, is stop smoking and take 1 capsule twice daily. But if you are a smoker and you're not going to stop for whatever reason, then you should be looking at taking 2 capsules twice daily. Now, some of you might only need 3, some of you may need 4, but I have no way to predict that. And so that's why I make the recommendation in that way. So just to summarize for everyone, oxidative stress is one of the most serious threats to human health on planet Earth today. It's an enormous threat. There are thousands and thousands of synthetic chemicals and more being made every day. And the majority of these chemicals, the human eye cannot see, the human nose cannot smell, and the human tongue cannot taste. But they are there, and they are harmful. And you need to be taking your antioxidants every day. Make certain that you do. Again, non-smoker, once, twice daily. Smoker, 2, twice daily. And that's the best I can do for smokers to say that. Now, I'm just going to close this with a comparison which I think really says it all. We were doing serum ORAC tests, not just with our product, but with a whole bunch of products. In fact, we tested almost 100 different competing products, and we also tested our product against, let's say, grape juice because of the resveratrol in it. We tested it against vitamin C. We tested it against various other nutrients, buckwheat, and so on. And what we found was that our product came out number one in every single test. But this is an important thought for you. So, folks, you have got a real value at your fingertips. And it's a responsibility to tell everyone you know about what I am confident is the best antioxidant product on planet Earth based on real science, human serum ORAC tests. So that's sort of a look at AO.